from the ground in Genesis 4, the Bible also says that the blood of Christ speaks things better than that of Abel. So here we have Abel representing the new covenant and the sacrifice that is accepted by God, and Cain representative of the 10 toes, the 10 kings, a sacrifice not accepted by God. 1 John chapter 3 verse 12, not as Cain, who was of that wicked one, and slew his brother. And wherefore slew he him? Because his own works were evil, and his brothers were righteous. So watch this. Now see the types here. Cain takes life to serve himself. Abel gave his life. So we have the two types. We have Christ and Antichrist. We have, by faith, Abel. We have the law of faith that brings salvation and grace, or we have the law that brings cursing. Cain, who was of that wicked one, the devil. Boy, I love these types. So watch this now. Now Cain is the one, Genesis 4:15, the Lord saith unto him, therefore whosoever slayeth Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. And the Lord set a mark upon Cain, lest any finding him should kill him. So now Cain and his lineage of the rejected sacrifice, the dominion of the law, has a mark on him. Think about in the last days, the man of sin puts a mark on either everybody's forehead or their right hand. Think about this. So now his lineage, the lineage that comes from Cain, has that curse on it. Genesis 4:19. Lamech took unto him 2 wives. And so Lamech, in this particular case here, Lamech was the offspring of Cain. We have another Lamech who's the offspring of Seth. Lamech took unto him 2 wives. The name of the one was Adah, the name of the other Zillah. And Adah bare Jabal. He was the father of such as dwell in tents and such as have cattle. And his brother's name was Jubal. He was the father of all of such as handled the harp and organ. And Zillah, she also bare Tubal-Cain, an instructor of every artificer in brass and iron. And the sister of Tubal-Cain was Naamah. Let's look at this for a minute. How many children did Lamech have? Jabal, Jubal, Tubal-Cain, and a 4th one that's different from the other 3 because she's a girl. Zillah. You see the 4 here? It's a rejected bondage curse. And here we even have this. We have, the Bible talks about in Genesis chapter 5, if you follow the lineages of Adam, you find that Enoch is the 7th of Adam. And that's what Jude said. Even Enoch, the 7th Adam, said this. And we have the prophesying of Enoch in Jude, which says the Lord cometh with 10,000s of his saints to, bear rule over the ungodly. So we have Enoch, who was the 7th from Adam, on the good side. We have Lamech, who was also the 7th from Adam, on the bad side. Enoch prophesies unto the Lord in righteousness. Lamech is a murderer who boasts that if anybody kills him, judgment and vengeance would be on them 70 times 7. Or 70 and 7 times. Very, very interesting. Here's something that Albert Pike makes reference of. It's interesting that of all the characters in the Bible, Masonry draws your attention to the one who came from the 7th from Adam through the lineage of Cain, makes mention of Tubal-Cain, who is the father of all of those who work with iron. In fact, there's a Masonic emblem. It's of a Cain and 2 balls. Yeah. Yeah, if you're thinking that, that's what it is. That's Masonry for you. That's their God. That's what they worship. Here is what Fat Albert Pike said about Tubal-Cain. That's what he said. Masonry has made a working man and his associates the heroes of her principal legend, and himself the companion of kings. The idea is as simple and true as it is sublime. From first to last, Masonry is work. Stop right here. Do you see that? All of these religious ideas have to do with performance of a work in order to attain godhood. This one says the work has already been done. Accept it by faith. So you see the difference between Abel and Cain? Abel's sacrifice was done by faith. It was a better sacrifice than Cain, which was of works. Masonry is a works salvation religion. So he says the idea is as simple and true as it is sublime. From first to last, Masonry is work. It venerates the grand architect of the universe. It commemorates the building of a temple. Its principal emblems are the working tools of masons and artisans. It preserves the name of the first worker in brass and iron as one of its passwords. Apparently there's a secret password in Masonry. I don't know, I've never joined a lodge. A secret password in Masonry. It's Tubal Cain, the guy in the 4th chapter on the law side, Cain's side, that was the worker of iron. Something interesting is that the name Tubal Cain, going from after the Tower of Babel and the languages were confused, going from one language, you know how like, my name is Michael, my full name is Michael, in Spanish it's Miguel, in Russian it's Mikhail, and it all comes from Hebrew. It has variances when you go from language to language, and the same is with Tubal Cain. The variance that takes place down the years and through the languages is of a god by the name of Vulcan. Tubal Cain, Vulcan. Here is the god of Vulcan. He is the god of fire. And notice the anvil, notice the hammer. He is a worker. Vulcan, Tubal Cain, is the worker of iron who pulls the iron out of the fire and works it. The god of the Old Testament, the god of Freemasonry, the god of all the New Age movement, the God of the last days, the Antichrist, is a God of works. Our God is a God of faith. Interesting. I try not to be, a Trekkie. Now, let me give you some words here. A Trekkie is a person who likes to watch Star Trek. Okay? I admit it. I just watched Into Darkness. I'm going to be talking about that soon. Okay? Very interesting. A Trekker is a guy who dresses up like a Klingon and goes kapla at the Star Trek conventions. That's the difference. I'm not a Trekker. I'm a Trekkie. The main character of all the Star Trek genre, the guy that has been in most of the Star Trek movies, was in Star Trek, the original series, The Next Generation, Spock. What is he? You know Gene Roddenberry, he was a New Ager, and I think a Mason. And Spock, Gene Roddenberry had two worlds. They were the enemies of the Federation. One was Romulus and one was Remus. That was the two gods who were the brothers who formed Rome, the Roman Empire. He also had a group of characters on there that were from the planet Vulcan. That's who Spock was. Spock was an all Vulcan. Spock was a hybrid between the Vulcan world, the iron, and the human world. Da da da. You see that? See the name Vulcan, Tubal Cain? It all makes sense. We're still dealing with the 4th chapter of the Bible, Genesis chapter 4. There is so much in there, but we're getting this understanding of what this iron represents. Now we're going to look at this idea of this 4th kingdom and how we can identify it in Scripture. Daniel chapter 2 verse 40, and the 4th kingdom shall be strong as iron, for as much as iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things, and as iron that breaketh all these shall it break in pieces and bruise. So we understand that this iron kingdom, this fourth kingdom, is actually going to be a kingdom of immense power. It's actually going to have power over everything in the earth. It's going to break everything. It can destroy anything. It can do anything it wants, and you can't go against it. Think of a superhero by the name of Iron Man. Okay? Bullets can't stop him. He's got all the power. You can't stop him. The man of steel. Steel is iron. That's what it is. Okay? And he's invincible, invulnerable. You can't stop the man of steel. You can't stop the Iron Man. So we know that this kingdom is going to be more powerful than anything in this earth. Now that is something I think that is very important. Think of all the kingdoms. You know, the Bible talked about Nebuchadnezzar being a king, and he's actually a king of kings. And it mentions the silver kingdom underneath him was going to be a lesser kingdom. But what's interesting is that the lesser kingdom took control of the kingdom of Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar's kingdom didn't last forever. And of course, there was a kingdom that was the Medo-Persian Empire, and then the Grecian Empire took control over Medo-Persia, and then the Roman Empire took control over the Grecian Empire. So anytime even you have a world empire like, I don't know, let's say America, there's always something that can conquer it, always something that can defeat it. But in this case here, the fourth kingdom on the earth is unconquerable as far as mankind is concerned. What do they say in Revelation 13? Who is like unto the beast? Who's able to make war with him? Nobody on earth can. Nobody can stop it. So what does that tell you? It leads you to believe that the fourth kingdom is actually not of this world. It's not part of what we see here. It's from someplace else. So let's do this. Let's do a study of the number 4 in the Scriptures, and let the Scriptures give us light on what this fourth kingdom. Now, if it just stopped at the third kingdom, we would be studying that number. But it doesn't. It goes to the fourth kingdom. And the fourth kingdom is diverse. Remember the 4 beasts, and the fourth one is diverse from the other 3. It's different. There's something about it that's different. You ever study the Gospels? Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John? You notice that Matthew, Mark, and Luke are called the Synoptic Gospels. They're pretty much the same. John's different. Let me show you why. Let's study the number 4 in the Scriptures. First place we go to, Genesis chapter 1, verse 14. God said, "Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years." Notice that in Genesis 1, the lights in the firmament are going to be for signs, seasons, days, years. 4 things. By the way, how many seasons? Summer, autumn, winter, spring. Think about it. Okay? Let them be for lights in the firmament of heaven to give light upon the earth, and it was so. God made 2 great lights, the greater light to rule the day and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. And God set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good, and the evening and the morning were the 4th day. So on the